argue with that woman when she said it shouldn't be like this. You stand on what God says. Because sometimes wives can get in the way of decisions. And I'm not telling you something's going on in my household. I'm not telling you that. Because I know my wife will want to ask some questions. Wait, well, what you mean by that? No, it ain't like that. The Bible tells you that the man is the head. But let me tell you about a head, y'all. Okay, let me tell you about a head.
All right.
You know, 5 that were wise and 5 were foolish. If the head is following God, then women, you should have no problem to follow. We're in this generation now where women think, I don't need no man. I'm independent. I can stand on my own 2 feet. But that's all right to think that if you want to. But I haven't seen a woman in this world that can make it without a man. That's just, I mean, we're dealing with God here. Folk can say what they want to. But God tells us different. We need a man as a leader in our lives. And if you're a single woman and you've got children, understand me. I'm not trying to tell you to run off and get married. You find yourself a church where you got some leaders in that church to help you. Don't be ashamed to bring your children before God. Don't be scared to bring them in here and say, look, I need somebody to help me. Are you ready? As we stand to our feet. The question is today, are you ready? Because he is coming back. And I tend sometimes to try to teach these young fellas. And I don't know about you all, but I find this to be very helpful to these young people. That if they would just follow these words that we give them, that they will make a big difference in life. You know, where, I don't know about you all, but I didn't have that when I was coming up in the church. I didn't have that. I went to a big church where it was just too big for individuals to have hands-on with certain individuals. That's why when I came home and I went to church, God touched me when I was sitting in that pew. And he said, this is where you need to be. I remember that. Because of the fact that I couldn't get what I wanted to get where I was in a church with 700, 800, 900 people. And you got all these deacons and you got, you know, pastors, 5, 6, 7 assistants, but they don't care about you. But when you got somebody that cares about you, my. Amen. So you're right. When you got somebody that, see, where I was going to church and I couldn't pick up the phone and call my pastor. I had to make an appointment. I may be dead by the time you're able to see me. You understand what I'm saying? When you have opportunity that you have here at this church, you don't hear me much brag about this church. I don't do much bragging because I believe in letting the light so shine before men. But churches would die for what we got in this church. They would die. I've been all across our district. And everywhere I go, folks say, how things down in Brown? Well, y'all know y'all got it going on down there. I don't say nothing. I'm like Jesus. I don't say a mumbling word. Because I know how y'all act sometimes. Y'all don't mind, can I tell it? We got a few minutes. I know how y'all act sometimes. Because if I get the big head and start walking around with my chest out, and sure as I do, somebody gonna disappoint me. Somebody will do that. We can go 6, 7 weeks and everything is just fine, and then all of a sudden somebody gets mad. See, that's that foolish and wise. I've never been one to get mad in the church, and you ought to be able to get mad, voice your opinion, and keep on trucking. Yeah. And if it lines up, then somebody dealing with the head ought to be able to say, well, yeah, you got a point there. But when God sends you, you just need to get on board. Amen. And follow. You write that down and go tell Facebook. Your brother put these sermons on Facebook, and just tell the world. Because that's what we're supposed to be about. Telling the dying world that Jesus still lives. Amen. But what we do if Randall started shouting in this church and he cussed. First of all, Daddy gonna be embarrassed. He gonna try to grab me. And folk ain't gonna wait to get out of this church and go get on the phone and call somebody. You know, Randy's son, he was in the church cussing. And they ain't gonna tell it like it was. But now, the doors, by the way, the doors of the church is open. If God is speaking to you, come to the altar. But now, nobody goes home and get on the phone and say, ooh, we had some church in there. Say, Pastor's hair was standing up on his head today. We don't tell the good news. And if I'm not mistaken, that's what the 66 books of the Bible is telling us, to tell the good news. There's a wedding. Come. Are you prepared? And I say that the doors of the church is open. You can come as a candidate for baptism. You can come seeking God. You can come wanting to join this church. You just want to give your hand of fellowship to God. The doors of the church is open. But you may just want to come just for prayer or whatever the case may be. But one thing about it, I want to say, if I can say this to you. You may be seeking prayer, you may be seeking something, and you want to come to this altar. Prayer is fine, it's all good. It's got its meaning, it's got its place. But we got something more powerful than prayer. That's about to take place. We're about to do something at this altar. We're about to do something at this altar. We're going to ask the stewardesses to come, and if the ushers would take their posts. You may be seated if you want to. But we're about to do something at this altar right here. Hold on, Sister Brenda. Wait for somebody else. Y'all do it together. Come on, Sister Brock. Get that coat off and get them up here on your post. Amen. Somebody say, Pastor being mean. No, he ain't being mean. This is serious. Amen. But there's some things that can take place right here that can help you. A lot of times I don't take the time to explain communion. And I know the hour is getting late. But communion is something that Jesus done a long time ago. He got his boys together.